Well, this is quite a conversation we've got going here, and I hope that you understand that we're reaching out, going to the edge, because we want to protect your children, your grandchildren, and those neighborhood children that you love so much.
Yes.
It's very important, folks. So many times we've kept this kind of thing down, but we just didn't want to talk about it. It was just uncomfortable to talk about. It's uncomfortable for us to talk about, but it's important to protect. And that's what we're all about, is protecting.
Yes.
Our guest is Raymond King, and he brought recently a seminar, Be Wise seminar, to the Thompsonville Church. And we asked him to come to Nightline because he was showing us really the depth of the issue of the problem of pedophilia and childhood molestation. And his point is, and a very well made point, that not talking about it doesn't make the problem go away. In fact, it opens our children up for molestation. They're unprepared for the kinds of attacks that are coming. And so what he and his wife of 30 plus years seek to do is to make parents aware so that they can make children aware, and to teach children how to protect themselves, how to arm themselves, how to speak, and how to avoid some of these things that are part of the world that we're in. One of the things that you said that surprised some of us was that the majority of those young people who are molested know their predator or know their attacker.
It's interesting. I tell people the danger is not from without, it's from within.
Yeah.
Because 40% of the molestation to a child is done, first of all, by their immediate family.
Yeah.
Mama, daddy, uncle, aunt, grandfather, grandmother, cousin, 40%. Another 30 to 40% is done by someone that the child knows of. And so when you look at the statistics, up to 90% of all molestation is done by somebody that child knows and trusts. Only 10% is done by the stranger lurking in the dark shadows, boogeyman, only 10%. And so it tells me what we're dealing with actually is a cultural, generational curse that has not been abated, only because, again, and I tell people, I'm not condemning, I'm just hopefully convicting, the church has not done the job that we need to do, because this is a demonic issue, and we have to address it as that. When you really start looking at what you see in the news, most of the people who molested a victim, again, was somebody that victim knew.
Yeah.
Powerful. Talk to us a little bit now about the ways that a pedophile or a predator gets access to young children.
This is scary. First of all, I'd like people, and as I did the other night, I gave you all names of organizations that you could look up. There's one called NAMBLA, North America Man-Boy Love Association. It's a nonprofit organization, international program of men who are trying to get laws changed that will allow men to get involved sexually with little boys. Now you say, how in the world can that even exist? Because we're in an evil world.
Oh, yeah.
But this group, again, because of their mindset, and I call it reprobate. And I'm going to say this real quickly. There are individuals who are molesters who are indeed reprobate. But there are other individuals who are molesters because of, again, of a childhood trauma that's never been resolved.
Yeah.
And we can reach that segment. But there's a demonic element out there as well. And what they believe is what they're doing is okay and normal and natural. And they've devised real cunning ways of attracting our kids. I came across a story in which they were talking about a pedo bear. And it's all about pedophiles dressing up in this cuddly-looking, overstuffed
like a teddy bear
type of costume.
Yeah.
The whole thing is the pedo bear is like their mascot. But I found out that they're not only using that as a means of attracting kids, but people dress up like Ronald McDonald, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse. As a matter of fact, about 4 months ago, they found a registered sex offender dressed up as Cookie Man, Cookie Monster. Now, imagine how easy it is for a pedophile dressed up in this costume to hug, to caress little babies. And imagine how unaware the parents are. As a matter of fact, go hug, go,
Sure.
because that's the way our culture is.
Yeah.
It's diabolic, and what they're finding out is they're telling parents, you got to be careful who your child around at all times, because pedophiles are so prolific, and again, they're all around us.
Yeah.
Another way that they are attracting kids is on the internet. Most parents, I tell parents, if you have a computer in your home that has access to the internet and there's no filter on it, it's worse than putting a loaded gun on your shelf.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, let me go a little bit further. No child should have a password that the parent does not know. And because the access to children, matter of fact, according to statistics, 1 out of every 5 child will be sexually propositioned on the internet.
Wow.
That's how prolific it is.
So you buy your child a computer, and then your child puts a pass you out of your own child's computer. That should never happen.
Never happened. That never happened, because that can be used so artfully by, again, people who are skilled in their molestation of children. And the sad reality is, when God says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, that's a strong statement.
Yeah.
Anything that we're ignorant of, Satan takes advantage of.
Right.
And I'm saying we need to change that, because our kids are at danger. Let me go one step further. Right now, Facebook, the popular social network, but it used to be MySpace. And they did a independent survey of MySpace, and they found over 29,000 registered sex offenders on MySpace that had MySpace accounts because they were using MySpace to get to kids. Over 29,000. So I'm telling you, that's how dangerous the computer and the internet is if you allow your child to use it without a parent's involvement.
That text comes to us, be sober. Be vigilant.
Yes.
Because your adversary, the devil,
Yes.
as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Yes.
You
Yes.
cannot just pull back totally from society. You can't do it. We have a life to live. You have to have computers in this world. Your children have to relate to others. But folks, we're talking about being careful, being on guard, taking certain precautions
Yes.
and looking for making sure that you know where your child is, who your child is with, what your child is doing
At all times.
At all times.
At all times. At all
Yeah.
times. It's so sad when we, in our ministry, because of what we deal with, we have a lot of adults come to us and share with us their experiences.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking when you hear their story, and it could have been avoided if the church made this a major focus. I jokingly say that if we spend as much time on this as we do in tithe and offering, our kids will be safe.
So, no, you're really serious, though, about this idea that Christians ought not be ashamed of this subject, certainly ought not avoid this subject, and really ought to arm their children with the information they'll need to fight back and be successful.
We are the light of the world. If we're seeing the proliferation of demonic attack on children, then we're the ones that should have the answer or the solution. We should not be the victims. And I'm saying that's what's so crazy about this whole thing. God is so omnipotent that He has given us what we need to fight back this assault of demonic proportions.
Yes.
But it seems like because we're afraid to step out the boat, it's time for us to walk on water.
Yes.
It's time for us to understand biblical sexuality. And I think that's the main problem. Have we taught effectively biblical sexuality in the church? Because when you start understanding how awesome it is, instead of being sheepish about it, you celebrate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you also recognize the error. And I told you about how this error now is being pumped through the entire school system of the United States.
Yes.
That's another issue. If we don't recognize the right, then we won't recognize the wrong.
Yeah. He showed us the other night, Jim, news clips of comprehensive sex education. Of course, the word comprehensive is a loaded word, but it in some places it involves passing out condoms to children as young as pre-K without parents' knowledge or permission.
Wow. Wow. Pre-K.
Pre-K. Without parents' knowledge or permission. We're not telling parents, and we're not waiting for your permission. If your child asks for it, we're giving it to them. Sight unseen.
The parent can say no.
Yeah.
All right.
Because their mentality is our kids are sexual beings. Our kids should not be prevented from having sex. They should be prepared to have sex.
Yeah.
We talked about Alfred Kinsey, and I kind of carried them into the history of what the mindset is. But they have an organization called FOSE, F-O-S-E, Future of Sex Education, that is now introducing a whole different focus on sexuality, and that's part of the problem, because what it's doing is creating in the minds of our babies an unnatural, unholy, unsafe attitude about sex, which would draw them into premature sexuality. And so the devil is slick. He's attacking them on different fronts. And the church should be made aware of this so that we can, again, repel that attack and empower our children to be able to live as God has not only required, but also has enabled.
I just went, as we were here, I just popped up my iPad and went to a site. You mentioned something a minute ago. I don't think I want to mention it because I just popped this up. And in every one of these images, you've got this, quote, lovable figure handling children. And if a person is a person who wants to get near children, why not put on a mask, put on a nice fluffy figure, and we will say, go sit on Santa's lap, or go, and we don't know who we're sending our children to.
Have no idea.
No, let Santa give you, sit on Santa's lap.
Yes.
It's fine. Just do it. And are we thinking we may be putting our children in the hands of someone who is getting gratification by stroking your child's hair or rubbing your child, and it's fine. But we're not thinking on those whys.
We're not aware.
Yes.
Right.
And that's where the knowledge comes in. When we know better, we do better. First of all, there should not be any Christian allowing a kid to be around Santa Claus anyway.
Well, amen.
That's a different story. It's a different story altogether.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I want to take this moment. I want to hold up your curriculum, your BeWise, because Irma actually bought this for our grands. Tell us what this packet does and what this is all about.
This was inspired on our way back. We were one of the presenters at the last Just Claim It youth conferences. And on the way back, the Lord really was working with me on our ministry. He kind of helped me to understand our promotion of abstinence and virginity is great. We still need to do that. But we need to spend more of our resources on prevention as opposed to on dealing with it after the fact. And so this BeWise Children's Critical Life Skill Curriculum is designed to do a number of things, primarily to empower the parents, to empower the children to, again, recognize, avoid, and report molestation. But we also deal with some other areas: self-esteem, discipline, gender assignment, because in the school system, what they're doing, they are blurring the specificness of genders the way that God has purposed.
Yeah.
They're telling little boys and girls, it doesn't matter, making a difference how you are anatomically, is what you think. Your mind is what you are, referencing your gender.
I see.
And so we're trying to establish with the kids, starting at age 4, that there is a difference between boys and girls. That you are precious in God's sight because of your connection with God. We believe that when the church starts to deal with the kids as early as Satan is attracting them, because the book I showed you the other night was designed for kids starting at age 4.
Yes.
And so if Satan is starting that early, shouldn't the church start that early?
Yeah.
And what we're finding out
sooner.
is, sooner, exactly. And so now is what this does is, again, it gets the parent involved with their child's age, dealing with sexuality in an age-appropriate manner. It's preventing, again, helping the child to prevent from becoming a victim, but even more important, as a child gets older, because the parent has already started that rapport, when you start having to deal with more mature sexual issues, you won't feel ashamed. The child doesn't feel ashamed. The parent does not feel ashamed because it's already been started.
Yes. You were saying that there is an all-out assault against abstinence.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
I'm from North Carolina. And up to 2009, the sexual education curriculum was a abstinence only until marriage sexual education curriculum. The government also had funding for those curriculum. In 2009, I was squelched that, and they started to embrace the comprehensive sex education curriculum. In 2010, Barack Obama totally wiped out the monies that would be geared toward that sexual abstinence only until marriage sexual education curriculum, and he started to embrace the comprehensive one. What's happening in America is they are actually state by state eliminating funding, eliminating teaching of abstinence only until marriage, and they're embracing the comprehensive, which includes teachings that are not only anti-biblical, but if the parents knew what some of these curriculums involved, they would faint. What is so critical, it's gotten so bad, my strong recommendation to every Christian, no Christian should allow their child to be taught sexuality in the public school. No, because what they're actually doing, and I showed you their own mission statement, the public school system, because it's attended by the majority of our kids, they realize that if we want to reach America, if we want to change America, then we do it at the school.
Yes.
And they're starting at preschool, pre-K, on up. And this is what's happening. If they are allowed to continue unabated, then we're raising a generation that's going to embrace the counterfeit sexuality to the point where even the church, as it is in Canada right now, is going to be challenged on us remaining faithful in our beliefs.
Yes, yes, it's incredible. When they talk about comprehensive, Jim, he showed us, they're talking about everything but abstinence.
Everything
but abstinence. It's
everything but
abstinence. Yes, anything goes, everything but abstinence. And he touched on something. This idea that it doesn't matter if you are a little boy or a little girl. If you're a boy and you feel like a girl, you're a girl. If you're a girl and you feel like a boy, doesn't matter what you are anatomically, you're a boy. And they're droning that into the heads of young children.
Wow.
So by the time they're a teen or an adolescent, that's in their soul. You can't get that out.
In Colorado, the Girl Scout program in Colorado has actually started to accept little boys into the Girl Scouts who say they're girls.
Wow. That's in Colorado.
That's in Colorado.
If you say you're a girl,
then
you're in the Girl Scouts.
You're in Girl Scouts. I actually have a video clip on that.
Yeah.
The church has no idea how far Satan has gone with this. But despite all of the unbelievable occurrences, I'm saying that the Bible itself, if we proclaim the truth, if we start to empower our children, God has told us, and my favorite text is Isaiah 54:13, and all thy children, which means without exception, should be taught of the Lord, and great should be the peace of thy children. When we talk about teaching them of the Lord, that is comprehensively. What we're doing, we teach them about prophecy, health methods, and other doctrinal issues, but when it comes to sexuality, we leave it out. We need to do the whole thing, because the sexual component of our culture is where the devil is focusing, and that's what the battlefield is.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. What are some of the specifics that in your seminars and so forth that you teach children about good touching, bad touching, and
good question.
Some of the things that you could share with us here, you might not share them all.
All right. In essence, we believe that we have to establish what we call the counterbalance.
Okay.
I know you all believe in that word.
All right.
Because of what's being taught in the schools, and because of what they're calling natural and normal, we have to establish in the child that there are certain parts of the body that we call private.
Okay.
Those private parts are covered by your underwear, and those are the areas that no one touches, and we give them specific times in which they should be touched.
Right.
And beyond that, if anybody attempts to touch it, we have a actual process by which they know to follow. For example, what were you told to do if you caught on fire?
Tuck and roll. Drop and roll. Yeah, drop to the ground and roll.
You know, I don't remember the subject ever coming up.
They told us drop and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Drop, roll.
All right.
Many of us remember that. I said, how long ago was that? They said, I was a child.
Yeah.
Our curriculum has a process that we teach a child what to do if an attempt to touch them in the wrong place is made.
Okay.
Yell no, back off, push away, and tell it.
Yeah.
Yell no, back off, push away, and tell it.
Right.
That's ingrained in this. And so imagine if your child is playing with other kids and all of a sudden you hear the child, no! Immediately something's going on. Right. Something going on.
Right.
We teach them that there are public parts. Your arms, your legs, those are parts that everybody sees. And we tell them that with those public parts, you do good work with them. Right. So we distinguish between public parts and private parts. Okay. Good touch and bad touch. Mm-hmm. And it's all done, again, in an age-appropriate manner because we believe that this is for kids that are age 4 and up. And if we teach our children at this age, because they absorb so much, I believe that it's going to be with them not only as they grow up, but imagine now they have information that they can now share with their children.
Yeah,
right.
And so we've broke the generational curse of ignorance that we have experienced all these years.
So this kit has a DVD.
It has a DVD. It has the curriculum on PowerPoint, so you teach it with a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. It comes with a companion booklet for the child. Uh-huh. It comes with a facilitator's manual for the parent. Okay. And it also comes with a very nice little activity book for the child as well. So the child has an interaction with. But the main thing is, this is empowering the parent to realize this is a dangerous world.
Yes.
This is awakening the parent. See, the problem we're having with the church right now, the church is assuming too much responsibility. The church cannot raise everybody's child. God has ordained that the church empowers the parent so the parent can come and do the raising.
And so many times the parent would like to, but they don't know what to do.
Exactly.
So this gives them the tool to do it. Yes. So they don't go too far, but they go far enough.
They go far enough. Yeah. And of course, we have another curriculum for teenagers and young adults that follows this. Yeah. But we've actually had churches who have taken this on. And one of our goals, as I shared with Pastor Murray, is our goal is to create Be Wise kids. Mm-hmm. But we can't create Be Wise kids until we create Be Wise parents. All right. And we can't create Be Wise parents until we create Be Wise churches. Yeah. And so our endeavor is to have a church where every child between the ages of 4 and 9 would know how to recognize, avoid, and report molestation. Imagine an entire church that has been empowered with this focus. Oh, yes. One good thing about it, not only will the kids in that church be empowered not to be victims, but a pedophile who knows the church has embraced this curriculum, embraced this focus, will leave that church alone. Yeah. You don't have to worry about them. No. Don't go to a church that is not doing that because it's easier mark.
Now listen, as you know, you're going to have pedophiles come to your church. And I will tell you how we handled it when I was pastor in Arlington, Texas. We did have some known pedophiles, 1 or 2, that did come. They had to report to a deacon. Yes. They had to be within contact of the deacon the entire time they were in our building. Yes. Yes. And if they would not accept that, then they were not honestly welcome. People say, oh, you can't do that. Yes, you can. You have to protect your children. And by doing this, then the second thing is they had to be in some type of a help program. Yes. Where they were trying to get victory over this in their own lives. Right, right. So on that basis, and you must be proactive, folks, yes, in dealing with this in a church. kindly deal with it, but deal with it. Not to deal with it is the most unkind thing you can do for the children, particularly.
Yes, and this is the biggest issue. There are so many adults, male and female, who've experienced this trauma. I believe there are people in every church that will really go for this, and we're trying to duplicate ourselves so that we can train trainers, so that once we leave, the church can be on its own and continue the program.
Now that provides a perfect segue. You may want to get this information or to have Raymond and his wife come. They do, we can attest, an excellent presentation. It is godly, it is spiritual. Should you like to make contact, have them come or get any of these materials, here's the contact information that you need.
You contact Securing Hope Ministry, Post Office Box 16982, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27416. That phone number is 336-459-3034. Or you can go online at securinghopeministry.org. And we hope that you'll mention that you saw this program on 3ABN when you contact them.
We are the time has really gone by because this is such great information. In the time that's left, if you had to give one statement to sort of tie a bow around this and talk to our audience to encourage them, what would you say?
And all our children should be taught the Lord. And great shall be the peace. Great should be the peace of our children. That's God's promise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And despite what we may face in the world, if we rely on the word of God, God said his word, the truth, will set them free and give them peace.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes.
And the great message of Elijah is turning the hearts of the fathers to the children and the children to the fathers. And that is in true love, and that is in no way, in any way, a message that condones anything other than true and beautiful love.
Yeah. Well, Paul told Timothy in these last days, perilous times would come.
That's right. Yes.
We do live in perilous times. But Christ said, John, 16:33, be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome. We can overcome if we arm ourselves with knowledge, because knowledge is power. Yes. Raymond, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
Our time is just about gone, but we will see you again soon on another Nightlight.